Hello again. Now this is a look behind the scenes of my performance on Penn and Teller's Fool Us. Penn and Teller's Fool Us was the first big national television show that I went on in the United States of America. It was all because of Johnny Thompson. I had met Johnny Thompson a few years earlier, but when we got to spend time for the first time really get to know each other, which was at 31 Faces North in Toronto, which is a private conference. We got to know each other, and he really was enamored by my magic, and he said, "You got to do Penn and Teller's Fool Us," which was a show that he was the main magic consultant on. So he put in a good word for me. I sent in my video. You have to send in a video of what you want to perform. You have to do it, and everybody has to do it. So that's what I did. I got accepted. I jumped through all the hoops that you have to jump through when you're going on a TV show. Next thing you know, I'm flying out there, and I'm at the Rio. There for a few days. And the first day, Johnny Thompson and Michael Close really helped me out because, I'm used to performing magic for people, but this is a TV thing. So they really helped me develop I guess you could say a preamble, a monologue before I start performing, which is what you do see when I'm on stage before I get into the effect. It's not very much, but it's a few lines, and that was very heavily scripted because I wasn't used to that. I wasn't used to just that talking that you do on TV. So they helped me out a lot with that, especially Michael Close. And I remember the first time I was in the room. So they take you into the room with the producers and the director, and Johnny Thompson is there. And I think Michael Close is as well. And there's nobody else. It's a small room. There's cameras, and they say, "Just perform for us." And I'm not used to performing for a camera in that situation. That's not what I'm good at. That's not what I really do. I need people. I need an audience. I need interaction. So I mumbled my way through it. It was really bad that I just mumbled my way through it. I did the techniques, but I didn't feel like I was performing for anyone. I didn't have a spectator. I didn't have, it's intimidating. You're just in front of a camera and they tell you perform. Just, act like you would act when you're on stage. Act. I don't act. I'm interacting with people. I don't, act. Come out and be energetic. Some people run out and they're screaming and I can't do any of that stuff. It's just not who I am. I'm not an actor. I'm a magician. So I went through that, and I found out about this later. Johnny Thompson told me. The directors, the producers went up to him and they said, "Johnny, what's wrong with this guy? He's not at all like he was in the video. He has no energy. We can't put him on TV like that." And Johnny told them, "Matty is a magician. He needs an audience. He needs a real audience. He's real." And I don't think they believed him. I don't know exactly, anyways, we go through, there's a few days of B-roll, all that stuff. You do in a day, you're shooting the interview, you do a day shooting the B-roll, and then you rehearse on stage, which for me was a lot better because I was actually rehearsing. They have a stand-in. So they have stand-ins. So people who, hypothetically play Penn and Teller, another person who's, standing in for Allison Hannigan, the host. And you perform for them, you do your routine on stage just like you would do, so the cameraman can know where to shoot, everything is blocked out in those moments. And then the day of the performance, by the way, in between the stuff that you are doing, there's nothing to do. You're just in Vegas, you have a hotel room, and you have nothing to do. So it's very and you're very anxious. At least I am. Some people I'm sure are calm, but for me, it was a really big deal. So I was very anxious. I didn't have a good time when I was in Vegas. Like I didn't go and hang out and stuff with people. I was just always just going through my head, what am I going to perform when I get on stage? How's it going to go? Rehearse. I had all these new lines that I was memorizing, which was a new thing for me as well. So it was a very stressful thing for me behind the scenes. And then the day of the filming, you get taken down into the basement of the theater where they have all the props, Penn and Teller's props that they've had for decades. And I remember I was there with David and Lehman, and I was there with, who else was I there with? I don't remember. Oh, maybe Joel Myers? No? Is that right? No, not Joel Myers. Maybe, who was I there with? I don't remember. Well, I was there with a few magicians, but you're just so focused on yourself, you forget who you're with, to be honest. Maybe Rob Zabrecki was there. Maybe Rob Zabrecki was there. But I didn't notice. And you're just there, and you're nervous, and they put your makeup on you, and, I was wearing, you can see what I'm wearing on TV. I was wearing a blue shirt, and I just go out, and they asked me, are you going to be dressing up? No, this is what I'm going to be wearing. And, I thought it looked good. I think it looked good for the television. I'm not, that's how I dress when I'm performing sometimes. Not all the time, but I thought it would be appropriate for what we were doing. And I went and performed. It's sort of weird. You see me performing. I'm using a bicycle box and a deck of exquisites from expert playing card company, Conjuring Arts. And I use the bicycle box just because it's easier to open. Their actual box is a little harder for me to open. So I go into the routine, and I believe when we were filming, I did 3 phases of the routine, but on televised, you only see 2 phases. So they cut a whole phase out. So, if you look in the comment section of the actual video, there's people who say, well, it's weird because, they cut and then, the deck is on the other side of the table, or these cards are on the other side of the table. Like, people notice there's a slight discrepancy in the cut. That was not something I was in control of. I didn't know how they would cut it, but they really didn't leave anything out in terms of technical things that I was doing. They just cut out a phase of the routine, which, worked out fine. And they did a very good job editing. They did a very good job filming. I think I did a pretty good job. I was nervous. I don't know if it shows, but I was. And I was sweating. I was nervous, definitely. And I didn't go on that program to fool them. I didn't really expect to fool them. I didn't go in with the mindset of, this is the material that's going to fool Penn and Teller. I just wanted to present the best magic that I could on television, and I wanted to do it in the right way. And that's what I accomplished. And, the whole thing with Allison, Allison was really funny, and Penn and Teller were great as well. And when they told me, they said, do you understand the words rough and smooth? And I'm thinking, yeah, I understand, but, no. And they're like, do you understand? And it was like, yeah, I understand, but that's not, that's not how it works. And then they said, do you understand? You fooled us. And for me, that was a really shocking moment. It took me a while to really process what had just been said. I didn't understand it at first. You fooled us. It was like, oh, okay, wow. I was in disbelief. I was in shock when they came up on stage. It was just, you're sort of in the lights. You have all these eyes on you, and you've worked hard, and you've just rehearsed everything. Everything's sort of a blur. When you're doing it, for me personally, when I'm doing these things, I'm just I'm just going based on my preparation, just boom, 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 just going on a line. And, you're just always like, okay, I made it through. I didn't screw up anything. I just made it, boom, smooth sailing. And you're just, okay, calculating. Everything's going right. You're just working ahead while you're in the moment. Anyways, just thinking about all these things while doing it. Not really thinking, but just, I'm aware. I'm aware of everything. And that came as a shock to me that I fooled them, but I was very gracious, and they were very gracious. And I went backstage. I met Penn family, his children, and I believe his wife, and they were very friendly. The kids loved me, and then after that, you get your mic off and everything, and then you have nothing to do. So I went to the lobby of the Rio. I grabbed myself a burger because I hadn't eaten all day. Went to the restaurant, grabbed a burger while they continued the taping. As I was eating the burger, they were emptying out the theater. The taping was over. Some people noticed I was in the restaurant. They said hello. And I went back to my room for a few hours, maybe 2 or 3 hours, packed, and then I had a very, very early flight in the morning from Las Vegas, I believe, to New York, and that was that. And I didn't tell anybody really about it. I mean, some people knew I was on Penn Teller's Fool Us, but I didn't, I just let it air, and a lot of people saw it, a lot of people liked it, and it brought a lot of good things to my life. TV is sort of a complicated thing. It's not a magical thing. But it was overall a great experience, and just a really great memory for me. Meeting Penn and Teller. I met them. You can see it live on TV. That's when I met them for the first time. When Teller saw me come out, he was giddy. He was like a child, bouncing in his seat. He was really excited, and it was just a great show. And the techniques that I use, you can obviously see the evolution in terms of the thinking of the routine, where it was back then to where it is now. I do have to thank Michael Close a lot for elements of the presentation. He really helped me out a lot. And so I always give credit to where it's due. Thank you, Michael Close. Thank you, Johnny Thompson. Thank you, Penn and Teller. And thank you to everybody who helped make my career. Because of that video, I would not be where I am today if it wasn't for that experience. So it was a great thing for me, and I think about it all the time.